Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate being part of this conference. Design is very important, and considering ways of including new ways of thinking about design and all that may follow is very important to the world at this point. So again, thank you all for having me. Thank you for being here, and thanks to the organizers. Really appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Moore, CEO and co-founder of Psychedelics Today. We are proud to operate the planet's best-known psychedelic media and education platform. You may have heard of our podcast, Psychedelics Today, which has over 500 episodes and millions of downloads. Or you might have heard of our 12-month training program, Vital, which is open for enrollment now for our 4th cohort starting in September. Imagine this. What would it feel like to be completely cut off from the world? To be living in it with natural beauty, life, and community all around you, but you're just not part of it. Well, for more than half the global population, this is reality. Over 60% of adults are chronically lonely, and this number continues to rise. Despite having more technological ability to communicate than ever before, human beings are the most disconnected we've ever been. Disconnected from the planet, disconnected from each other, and disconnected from ourselves. Today, we are going to explore how psychedelics can be used to mend fractures in our society, restore our sense of belonging, and bring us back together. So for today's agenda, exploring modern alienation, the role of psychedelics, case studies, vision of the future, and call to action. So let's dig into modern alienation. Yeah, these are some major categories here. Social alienation, cultural alienation, environmental, and personal. There are many types of alienation occurring today. Here's the 4 we're going to take a look into. So social alienation occurs when individuals feel disconnected from the social groups or communities to which they aspire to belong. It can be due to differences in beliefs, values, social status, or simply an inability to fit in with prevailing social norms. Cultural alienation. People might feel alienated from their culture or ethnic backgrounds, especially when living in a place that has different cultural norms or where their culture is marginalized. This can lead to feelings of loss, confusion about one's identity, and isolation. Environmental alienation. Particularly relevant in modern times, this form refers to a disconnection from nature, often due to living in urban or highly modified landscapes where natural elements are scarce. This can lead to a lack of appreciation for the natural world and a feeling of being out of place in one's environment. We all know those people that get really scared in the woods, and that's kind of telling, or just anywhere that's got deep nature. Personal alienation. Individuals may feel estranged from themselves, experiencing a disconnect between their actions and their true feelings or desires. This can stem from pursuing goals that do not align with one's values or from living in a way that doesn't fulfill one's deeper needs. The role of psychedelics. The good news is psychedelics can help reconnect us. They have shown remarkable potential in healing the mind and restoring crucial lost connections. Studies have shown that psychedelics, including psilocybin and MDMA, can significantly reduce depression, anxiety, and PTSD, bringing us back to unity and empathy. And beyond their healing properties, these substances are catalysts for creativity. They dissolve the barriers to our imagination, enabling breakthroughs in art, science, and problem solving. And right here, I'll just suggest that as we're talking about psychedelics being a great reconnector, the recent Stanford study with iboga and magnesium in probably ibogaine with the veteran population showed that the brains were getting healed in really robust ways. And this is probably the best evidence we have on the macro of the brain, but on the micro, we're seeing increases in neuroplasticity, which can be really helpful if integration is set appropriately. And we're also seeing dendritic arborization, neural density, new neurons actually growing, and things coming back from a kind of a shriveled state. So these things are reconnecting on the micro and macro, and we'll get into the macro a little bit more. So the next slide here, social reconnection. And now we're going to go through a few case studies to help illustrate our points, and hopefully they help explain why these things are great reconnectors. Our first case study explores a 2021 Imperial College study of a group retreat where participants engaged in psychedelic sessions. This shared experience created a profound sense of communitas, or deep togetherness, that transcended usual social structures. Participants reported not just a temporary boost in mood, but lasting improvements in their sense of social connectedness and well-being. The presence of supportive facilitators and the establishment of strong interpersonal rapport were key to fostering this environment of emotional connection and safety, leading to enhanced social bonds. This demonstrates the power of shared psychedelic experiences in healing and uniting individuals. We see it all the time in social settings, from rave families to camps at Burning Man to partners falling back in love, to typically reserved individuals making new friends at a party. There are many other cases of social reconnection we see in our work at Psychedelics Today and in our 12-month training program, Vital. Our program is extremely collaborative and in part intended to build psychedelic community. Our students tell us they find a remarkable sense of belonging and connection to each other through the program, especially after retreats. Our students are spread all over the world and form very strong bonds as a result of doing intensive psychedelic study together. We see the power of psychedelics in creating social connection all the time. Psychedelics have a unique ability not only to connect people with new cultures, but with their own forgotten cultural traditions. Thousands of Westerners travel to South and Central America each year to take in ayahuasca, psilocybin, San Pedro, kambo, and other plant medicine ceremonies. This exposure to indigenous ceremonies and traditions from groups including the Shipibo, Shuar, and Kogi are all helpful to open our naive Western minds to that which we have no prior experience and don't understand. And while appropriation of these customs by white people can become problematic, largely the exposure to these cultures has positive impacts on participants. Looking at contemporary indigenous use within their own communities, this case study explores the use of peyote in the Native American church. While North American natives have been using peyote ritualistically and medicinally for thousands of years, it is being used today to help ensure that Native American youth do not lose their connection to heritage. And that's really valuable. It's a deep heritage, and it's very experiential. It's something that you can't always communicate through language. So peyote remains a central sacrament to the Native American church and has been used successfully to reconnect Native Americans to their language through song and chanting. From the late 1800s to the 1980s, indigenous children across the U.S. and Canada were taken from their families and forced into residential schools where they were punished for using their own language and forced to speak English. In addition to reconnecting many indigenous people with their spirituality, it is reconnecting them to their language, which is really important because it was lost for so many people as a result of colonization. And for those who pay attention, we're losing languages at an alarming rate around the world, and it's really important to bring them back when we can. Psychedelics are being used to help repair this culture that was so greatly abused. Next case study, environmental reconnection. Just ask anybody who's taken psychedelics outside and they'll tell you psychedelics almost force us to look at the earth in a different way. Albert Hofmann himself said that psychedelics are best used outdoors. Famed anthropologist Jeremy Narby said in his book, The Cosmic Serpent, DNA and the Origins of Knowledge, that ayahuasca caused him to see his hand turn into a leaf. and he realized we are not so different from plants. This caused him to understand how deeply connected humans are to nature and that human consciousness is intrinsically linked to the natural world. And in fact, indigenous knowledge systems may understand the environment better than Western science ever will. Statistically, the odds of combining two of the over 80,000 plant species to create the most powerful psychedelic on Earth are exceptionally low. But that's just what the ancient Amazonians did with the Banisteriopsis caapi vine and the chacruna leaf to create the ayahuasca brew. When asked how they figured it out, they said the plants told them how. And more contemporarily, the psychedelic-influenced Whole Earth catalog, written in 1968, was a revolutionary book that presented new ways of thinking about society, technology, and the environment. The book includes resources on a range of topics from organic farming to renewable energy, reflecting a convergence of technological empowerment and environmental responsibility. Values that were and continue to be heightened by the psychedelic culture's emphasis on ecological awareness and connectivity. In a famed 2019 study by researchers Sam Gandy, Robin Carhart Harris, and others, known as the Nature Relatedness Study, the findings here suggest that psychedelic experiences can lead to significant, lasting changes in personality, particularly in terms of increased openness and nature relatedness. These changes may also be linked to shifts in political views, promoting more liberal and pro-environmental attitudes. This underscores the potential of psychedelics not only for individual psychological growth, but also for broader societal impacts. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, we are going to take a look at how psychedelics can help us reconnect with ourselves. This case study highlights the profound impacts of psychedelics on personal healing and self-discovery. Through guided sessions, individuals have reported significant improvements in their sense of self and emotional well-being. The work MAPS is doing is one of the broadest examples. Their MDMA-assisted psychotherapy has shown remarkable success in treating PTSD by helping patients confront and process traumatic memories, leading to a deeper understanding and acceptance of themselves. The MAPS MDMA protocol may be the first psychedelic to be approved by the FDA, though the timeline is unclear. Connecting with oneself is the most crucial connection of all. We can't enact meaningful change or have healthy impacts in our communities, with our families, or on our planet until we at least begin to start healing ourselves. We see examples of reconnecting with the self all over psychedelic practice, using the principles of Stan Grof, Carl Jung, and internal family systems to help individuals participate in this adventure of self-discovery. In fact, we're offering our Vital students the chance to specialize in somatics, Jung in-depth psychology as part of their certification for the upcoming September cohort. We're the first education program to offer this kind of specialization, which we think will be really crucial to helping people heal. More good news, the case studies I've just presented only demonstrate a fraction of the ways psychedelic can help foster connection. We've interviewed hundreds of guests on our podcast with stories about how psychedelics are used both formally and informally to help us connect. Here are some examples. MDMA is used in conflict resolution between romantic partners to help keep people together or to help people find ways to part amicably and reduce wreckage. Rave families that come together to celebrate and build micro-communities at Burning Man and similar events, and how this can spread outside the festival. Psilocybin or ayahuasca churches, which help people reconnect to their culture or discover new cultural traditions. Psychedelic support groups that help veterans reestablish the brotherhood and camaraderie that's removed when military personnel are done with duty. The solo tripper who takes mushrooms in nature and realizes for the first time the importance of taking care of our water sources and animal habitats. Bereaved parents, adult children, or partners who are able to feel the love of their deceased family members again after taking psilocybin or MDMA. And this idea of achieving connectedness through psychedelics is so relevant that there's actually a research-backed method of measuring it now. The Watts Connectedness Scale was developed quite recently by Dr. Rosalind Watts and her team at the Imperial College Center for Psychedelic Research. The scale is a psychometric tool used to measure the sense of connectedness across 3 dimensions: to self, to others, and to the world. The scale was created based on observations during psychedelic therapy where participants reported an increased sense of connectedness after their journey. The scale aims to quantify and articulate the feelings of connectedness before and after a psychedelic experience. The scale has been validated and can be used by anyone to help measure their own or their research participants' feelings of connectedness. It's fascinating. We spoke at length to Dr. Watts about this on our podcast, Psychedelics Today, where you can hear all about it. So before I leave you, I'd like to propose a challenge to you to take into your own lives, communities, and organizations. Consider how psychedelics could be useful to foster reconnection in your life. How could you use them to connect with yourself or with the people you care about? How could they be used to bring the groups you're a part of closer together? How could they be used in collaboration to solve problems, to fix broken systems? Because the truth is, everything is part of a system. We are all interconnected and dependent on each other in some way. If we begin to look at psychedelics as a powerful tool, not just for use in allopathic medicine, we can make meaningful shifts in all areas of our lives together. Thank you.